Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome wherever you are around the world. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the FIBA Olympic Qualifying Tournament Chat Party here on FIBA. Of course, Chat Party presented by Smart, and we are happy to have you along here with us. It is going to be an exciting one here today. Of course, a lot at stake. Brazil against the Philippines. That's what we're going to be talking about in just a bit. Of course, a single elimination here from this point on, and what's at stake is a spot in the final of the Riga Olympic Qualifying Tournament. And of course, the Philippines and Brazil are eager to get one step closer to that Olympic dream happening in Paris 2024. So, thank you very much for joining us here. I want to introduce myself. My name is Paulo Del Rosario. I'm from the Philippines, so I'm going to try and be as unbiased as possible, especially to all of our friends from Brazil and wherever you are around the world. So, whether you be from Rio de Janeiro or Manila, this is the place to be. This is going to be a second screen, so you will not see the game itself here on this page. But if you want a different type of commentary, if you want to, just have a lot of fun chatting on the feed here, then please do go stay here with us and make sure you make sure you share this, and of course, we're going to read some of the comments on later on as well. So let's see whether or not the Philippines or Brazil will make it to the final of this Olympic qualifying tournament. Of course, you take a look at these two squads. The Philippines going into this one as the heavy underdog against a Brazil team with a lot of experience, a lot of talent, especially NBA level talent. A lot of their players have figured in the NBA in the past. While the Philippines, well, they have one player who figured out in the G League in the past, and that is their best player, Justin Brownlee. Of course, Kai Soto, who is questionable for this game, a game time decision, is going to be one of the players that the Philippine fans are going to be eager to see whether or not, one, if he will play, or two, if he will get a lot of minutes anyway. On the other end, Brazil have, of course, Bruno Caboclo to lean on in terms of scoring. He leads the team in rebounds and scoring here for this Brazilian team. And in terms of assists, it is Iago Santos, who is averaging around 6 assists per game. Of course, you have a lot of other players here that you got to watch out for Brazil. Of course, Cristiano Felicio, you have Marcelinho Huertas, you have just a wealth of talent here with the pedigree of NBA level player, which is still the benchmark that we do have internationally to see just how good some of these guys are. On the other hand, for the Philippines, of course, they have shocked the world already with their win against Latvia, number 6 in the world. They didn't care about the rankings, and of course, they're gonna not care about the rankings going up against Brazil here in a bit as well. Now, for those not familiar with this Philippine team, of course, a lot of changes have happened in terms of coaching staff in the past. The Philippines have had Coach Tim Cohn for a grand total of 2 tournaments in this particular cycle. They won the Asian Games after the 61-year drought in terms of a gold medal, upsetting China in their own home floor and then winning the final afterwards. But then here in this Olympic qualifying tournament, the Philippines are fielding a new team as well. So let's see whether or not Coach Tim Cohn can come up big here today, because he's going to have his hands full trying to get over a Brazil team who know that they cannot make any mistakes as well. Let's take a look back at the previous game of Brazil. That was against Cameroon just the other day, 77-74 in favor of Cameroon, who have been one of the surprise teams of the entire Olympic qualifying tournaments all around the world. Now, Cameroon actually got off to a great start. In fact, they did have a lead of 24 points over Brazil in their last game. Brazil managed to come back into this one with their second half performance. Of course, you take a look at what they did in the second half in particular. The third quarter and the fourth quarter was just so dominant from Brazil. They limited Cameroon to only 12 points in the third quarter and 9 points in the fourth quarter, stopping them from even scoring double-digit figures. Of course, it was a big disparity in the first half. Of course, Cameroon outscoring Brazil in the first quarter by only 2 points, 29-27. But here is where things went off the rails for Brazil. 27-12 in that second quarter, for Cameroon. Now, how did they do it? Well, Cameroon were very physical. They forced a lot of turnovers. They made Brazil uncomfortable. But then Brazil got their defense going, in particular in that second half. And then at fourth quarter, they just got better and better. So, for the Philippines, on the other hand, in their last game against Georgia, all they need to do was not lose by 19 points. And that turned out to be something that they were able to do. They were able to do that, and they were able to find a way to avoid what would have been a monumental upset. They got off to an incredibly slow start, talking about the Philippines against Georgia. In that first half in particular, they went down by as much as 20 points against Georgia. Georgia went on a 16-0 start to start out the game, which turned out to be something that the Philippines had a hard time getting back to. Then all of a sudden, in the third quarter, the Philippines did something a bit strange. Well, at least strange for a lot of people overseas, which is they went into a 2-3 zone that they have never practiced before. They admitted that they never practiced it. But then every Filipino fan at home will say that, alam mo, the 2-3 zone is what they play in the streets. So the Filipinos actually celebrated that move. And of course, let's see whether or not we're going to see that here again today. Of course, Coach Tim Cone for the Philippines admitted that that was a desperation move against Georgia. Let's see if they're going to be as desperate against Brazil. Now, in Riga, Latvia, if you're watching on your screens right now, just so you know, we're all on the same time frame. If you're going to use this as a second screen, right now we are seeing the graphics for the games today. Of course, Brazil and the Philippines will be the first game here, followed by that other clutch matchup between Cameroon and Latvia, the host nation, in the second game. Again, what is at stake? A slot in the final for this leg of the Olympic qualifying tournament in Riga, Latvia, and it's single elimination. There is no turning back here. You win or you go home. And let us see whether or not it'll be the Philippines or Brazil figuring in that final. Now, it's really interesting because the way the Philippines and Brazil have figured in this particular tournament, in this particular competition, you have a lot of people think that, hey, maybe the Philippines could pull off another upset and actually make it to the Paris Olympics, or Brazil, leaning on their veteran talent, leaning on their pedigree in terms of NBA level talent, they should be able to, at least on paper, make it to the next round and actually make it to the Paris Olympics, even ahead of a team like Latvia. But Latvia still had to beat Cameroon, who have been fantastic throughout this entire Olympic qualifying tournament as well. They were able to help eliminate Montenegro in Group B, while in Group A, Georgia, of course, not advancing because of the exploits of both the Philippines and Latvia in the group stage. But the two teams are now lining up for the national anthem as they are about to be introduced and are right now about to sing the national anthems in Riga, Latvia. So, please, everyone, just join us on the chat. Do share it, do like it, do come out and just have a lot of fun here. But remember, let's be a bit respectful here. Let's be respectful of each other in this live chat. Once again, you're watching the second screen version of the coverage here for the FIBA Olympic Qualifying Tournament by FIBA. This one's for the Riga, Latvia tournament between Brazil and the Philippines. This is one of 4 tournaments happening all around the world. Another one happening in Greece, another one happening in Spain and Puerto Rico. Semi-final game day here today. Of course, if you're in the Philippines, you can watch it on Signal TV, also Filipinas Live. If you're in Brazil, you can watch it on ESPN. And if you are wherever you are around the world and want to watch this, you can catch it at courtside1891.com. And make sure we're all gonna, and I'm sure we're gonna have a good party here today. It's gonna be a long day, and you're gonna have me for the next hour and a half or so. Hopefully you don't get sick of me. So let's see how it all works out. And remember, be respectful on the chat here as we get ready to get going here between the Philippines and Brazil. Stars are gonna come up in just a bit, and of course, it's going to be one, could be very historical for the Philippines, and Brazil wanting to continue history because out of all of the meetings they've ever had throughout their basketball history, dating all the way back to the 50s, Brazil has never ever lost to the Philippines, has been 0 of 4, rather the Philippines has been 0 of 4 against Brazil, dating all the way back to the 1952 Olympics. So let's see whether or not Brazil could continue that. They would fancy themselves to. They are favorites in this one. You can check all of the odds, the bookmakers. No one will say the Philippines are favorites here. And Brazil will be hoping that they will move on to the next, will move on to the final, facing either Cameroon or Latvia. So I'm gonna take a quick break here as we await the starters for these two, Brazil and the Philippines, as the national anthems are ongoing at the moment. Again, make sure you follow, make sure you like, and make sure you share this. And let's all have a lot of fun here on the live chat here on the side. And of course, maybe you prefer my insights or really my commentary, my side commentary on this particular tournament in this particular game. Again, this is the FIBA Olympic Qualifying Tournament in Riga, Latvia, Pilipinas against Brasilia. And we are about to start here between Philippines and Brazil. For those wondering, no, you cannot watch the game live on this particular stream. This will only be a second screen, so you can leave this on while having the actual game on wherever you are watching or wherever you want to watch. If you prefer this type of commentary or whatever you have there on your screens, whether you be an ESPN in Brazil, whether you be on Signal TV in the Philippines, or watching on Courtside 1891 online or via the FIBA live stream, you can have this on the side, but you cannot watch the main game here. This is always going to be a different type of experience should you want to, and of course a different level of interactivity because the live chat there, it's pretty lively. It's pretty lively right now, and the comments are flying around, and not a lot. And we're gonna try to see if we can make this a bit more respectable as well. We can see a lot of Filipinos already on the live chat, obviously making themselves heard. The Philippines very infamous for the presence in social media, and they are not disappointing at the moment. Even here on YouTube, they can turn this into a chat room really, really quickly. And of course, we can't wait to hear from the Brazil fans as well, trying to match the volume and the level. Now for the Philippines, news here, Kai Soto not starting for the Philippines. Will be Japet Aguilar, Dwight Ramos, Justin Brownlee, Junmar Fajardo, and Chris Newsome starting here for Team Pilipinas. And of course, Justin Brownlee going to be the person to watch out for the Philippines. A near triple-double average, leads the whole tournament in scoring with 27 points per game. That's a cool 10 points more than Brazil's Bruno Caboclo, who is averaging around 17 points per game. And of course, on the other end, you have to figure out how you're going to deal with, again, as you mentioned, Bruno Caboclo, as well as Huertas, who are two players with NBA experience starting here for Coach Alexander Petrovic in Brazil. Again, Brazil will be coming out here as one of the favorites, or rather the favorite in this particular game. The Philippines, I've emphasized a strong start. So have Brazil. Both teams actually suffered really terrible starts in their respective final group games. The Philippines, of course, going down 16-0 against Georgia in the very first quarter. It was a back-to-back. But of course, on the other end, you had Brazil going down by, I believe, as much as 24 in their last game against Cameroon, where they were just blasted 27-12 in the second quarter. So getting off to a strong start is going to be imperative for these two teams. Don't be surprised if these two will make it a bit cagey to start out with. Neither team could let the other go on a big run in the first or second quarter, especially with the emphasis of how much is at stake in this particular game. Brazil against the Philippines. No Kai Soto in the starting lineup for the Philippines. He had a little rib injury that he suffered against Georgia early on. He was rushed to the hospital. He had an x-ray. He had a scan. He will not be starting here, though the team management did say that he does not have a fracture and was a game time decision in this particular game. We now have a poll going on in the live chat, basically asking who you got, the Philippines or Brazil. And the votes are flying in. And at the moment, the Philippines leading that poll. So we're going to ask for the Brazilian fans out there to come up in numbers and see what we can do. So about Brazil, as we have a lot at stake here in Riga, Latvia. And Brazil will get going early. 3-0 start here against Gilas Pilipinas. Of course, Gilas Pilipinas wearing their blue and Brazil wearing all white. Arena Riga in Latvia is the venue as Brazil get going early here with a three-pointer from the corner as Santos gets it going here for Brazil. Of course, Gilas Pilipinas running triangle and triangle concepts has been a feast for purists in the basketball scene, and it's going to be a bit cagey here, I'm sure. Justin Brownlee trying to get going early, not able to make that, as the Philippines will be relying a lot on Justin Brownlee. There have been a lot of players for the Philippines who have averaged more than 30 minutes per game, as it's going to be a test here of whether or not the run of games the Philippines has had in the past few days and weeks leading up to this will actually be a big factor or not. Of course, fatigue, an issue for sure. And of course, for those who want to comment, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. It's going to be on the chat. And of course, we're going to try and read a few for sure. But it's going to be a bit difficult with the number of comments flying in. Low scoring start here between the Philippines and Brazil, as neither team are really getting the measure of it here though. But then Brazil looking just a tad bit sharper here than the Philippines to start off quarter number 1. 5-0 already here on our live tracker. I believe my feed might be a bit late, but Gilas Pilipinas having a hard time finding the bottom of the net, settling for long twos and 3 here or there. But Brazil finding a way to get going here. A long jumper, no good, but then the follow-up, Bruno Caboclo able to muscle his way in despite the sea of blue shirts in the way. Of course, Gilas Pilipinas looking for their first bucket and 5-0, or rather now 5-2. So I'm going to try and get my stream up to speed here. But as we're going through this, it is Chris Newsome who gets the first 2 here for Gilas Pilipinas. And Brazil already 7-2 up, according to our live tracker as well. So I will be following the live tracker alongside all you guys here. Of course, Brazil getting the second effort in this one and finding ways to go inside. It's Bruno Caboclo with a strong slam, able to push the lead up here to 5 for Brazil. Of course, Brazil and the Philippines now still battling here in quarter number 1. It has been a type of game that has been cagey, to say the least. As we take a look at the live tracker here, of course, you can actually have access to the live tracker on the FIBA website. Make sure you check that all out. Chris Newsome has been one of the primarily ball handlers. for Gilas Pilipinas, and they will have to and they will have to lean on him, especially without the one of the recent MVPs of the PBA not being part of this lineup, and Scotty Thompson. Of course, Brazil, the Philippines will be happy, or will be feeling a bit lucky that Brazil haven't really found their mark from beyond the arc. Of course, we can see all the live stats as well online, as the Philippines now have taken the league according to our live stats. A back-to-back three-pointers made by Dwight Ramos. Well, I'm seeing the first one that he made here on my screen, making that a 7-5 game. But here are our live stats already. Dwight Ramos already makes it 7-8 in favor of the Philippines. Of course, Dwight Ramos plays his trade in Japan, and one of the fan favorites, a firm fan favorite here in the Philippines, as Dwight Ramos got that three-pointer after basically running it down, got it back from Junmar Fajardo off a dribble handoff and making that three-pointer. Of course, on the other end, it's a lot of effort happening for Brazil in terms of the rebounding, the fouls, and of course Chris Newsom drawing a foul here from Huertas later on. You take a look at this Brazil team, and they have been testing their range. They haven't really shot the ball well from beyond the arc throughout this entire competition. In fact, the Philippines have shot the ball incredibly well prior to this. They are shooting 34% from beyond the arc, talking about Brazil, throughout the tournament so far, while the Philippines have been shooting a red-hot 51.2%. That is a number that some people may consider as unsustainable, but the Philippines only need to sustain it for the next two games, including this one, should they actually beat Brazil. Of course, a tough task here, but the Philippines and Brazil, now according to our live stats, all even up at 10 apiece. Japet Aguilar getting a tip in, while Lucas Diaz answers back with 3 points of his own for Brazil. Of course, Dwight Ramos strikes back with two. A good start here for Dwight Ramos, in the Philippines known as Saint Dwight, for reasons that are very deep in cultural understanding for sure. You have to take a look at his college days to figure out why he was called Saint Dwight. But the Philippines doing good, getting it done, courtesy of Dwight Ramos's early burst. As Dwight Ramos, he got his jumper through a fadeaway of a tough look. It's important he's got a good start, as Justin Brownlee also gets into scoring. A floater here from the naturalized Filipino, Justin Brownlee, but no one will ever consider him just naturalized. The nickname that they have for him is Justin Noy P, which is really a play on the word Pinoy, which is what the Filipinos do call themselves. Of course, Japet Aguilar, one of the veterans of Coach Tim Cone, has been playing a lot of minutes here because Kai Soto has yet to play here for Gilas Pilipinas. Again, Kai Soto, one of the great younger hopes for Philippine basketball, has the size, has the strength, has yet to figure here in this game so far. But the Philippines off to a great start here. 14-10 the count between these two near in the last 2 minutes. A steal here from Dwight Ramos, and of course Junmar Fajardo getting the offensive rebound but missing the tip as well. But then Justin Brownlee hits a big triple to make sure that Gilas Pilipinas do have a bit of the lead, and they force a timeout here from Brazil. Now Brazil got off to the better start between these two, but Brazil let the Philippines get a bit of rhythm. Dwight Ramos had a big part of it. Justin Brownlee, of course, hitting a big three to force the timeout. And it has been not necessarily one-way traffic, but Gilas Pilipinas have found a bit of momentum here towards the end of the first quarter. This timeout, Brazil will be hoping will be enough to stop that momentum and really sort themselves out yet again. As, of course, in my own screen, it's been a good effort for the Philippines, especially on the offensive end, just extending possessions. Again, for those wondering who where Kai Soto is, again, he did suffer a injury to his rib. He was ruled as a game time decision by Coach Tim Cohn, but was not necessarily guaranteed that he would play. The great news is that he has no fracture or any injuries apart from, at least from what I'm led to believe, as practically a bone bruise or bruise in his abdomen. But of course, we're going to see whether or not he will get to play. That's going to be one of the big things to watch out for here. And of course, I am enjoying the fact that right now the Philippines has basically taken over our live chat. We're going to try and we're going to see whether or not we can get more Brazil fans out there to come in and join in on the party as well. Maybe a bit of chats in Portuguese, because I don't know, I wouldn't even be able to reply to that. But right now, interesting here for Coach Tim Cohn and the Philippines. So one of the bigger changes here is that it was not Kai Soto coming in instead of for Japet Aguilar. It is going to be Carl Tamayo, one of the younger players here for Coach Tim Cohn and Gilas Pilipinas. And that just means that we don't really know whether or not we're going to see Kai Soto in this game at all. But early returns suggest perhaps not, but we will see. And of course, Philippines fans are going to be hoping that that's not going to affect them too much. A steal here again, Brazil with a turnover, and of course Chris Newsom going to the line to shoot a couple of free throws. Free throws, a bit of an issue here for Gilas Pilipinas. In terms of the free throw percentage, they're shooting at a 74% clip, while Brazil actually a bit worse, 71% here for Brazil. Let's see whether or not if the game will actually be decided by certain free throws towards the tail end of things. And of course, the Philippines actually do not have some of their better talents, their better young talents. AJ Edu, a player who has shined for the Philippines in past international tournaments, was not able to join this particular OQT. But of course, they're gonna be hoping that they wouldn't miss him as much, or in this one, especially to try to get one over Brazil. Bruno Caboclo will try it again from beyond the arc, but then the shot just not falling here for Brazil. Leo Mendel will also have another foul, and Cristiano Felicio, former Chicago Bull, coming in for Bruno Caboclo, will try and change things around. Of course, the Philippine fans in Latvia trying to make themselves heard. Of course, we're going to try and bring up some of the live numbers here between these two, between Gilas Pilipinas and Brazil, as it has been an interesting contest, to say the least, between these two, with the Philippines coming out a bit stronger towards the end of this first quarter. But then Leo Mindel coming up with 2 to make it just a 6-point lead with just over a minute left to play here. And of course, Chris Newsom answers back with 2 of his own. Of course, Chris Newsom, a newly minted champion in the PBA for the Meralco Bolts. Leo Mendel, well, they're going to be happy that they were able to finally stop that run from Gilas Pilipinas, because they went on an 8-0 run, or rather a 5-0 run, talking about Gilas. And a steal here from Chris Newsom. But then a turnover from Carl Tamayo just a few seconds later. So we're going to take a quick look here at the stats between these two. In terms of three-point shooting, 60% for Gilas Pilipinas here in the opening quarter, while Brazil have had a tough start here, shooting at only 25%, 2 of from beyond the arc. 2 of 8 from beyond the arc here for Brazil, while Gilas Pilipinas they're going to say that it's their defense forcing them to all these bad looks. 29% from the field as a whole, talking about Brazil in this particular game, as Cristiano Felicio is able to draw a foul from Chris Newsom. Of course, for the Philippines, on the other end, the Philippines don't shoot as many three-pointers, but they shoot at a high clip. 3 of 5 from beyond the arc at the moment, according to our live stats on the FIBA website. You can check that out on FIBA.basketball. And you can look for the Riga Latvia Olympic Qualifying Tournament page and go to Brazil and the Philippines, and you can see what I'm seeing and what you can see here on the screen with Gilas Pilipinas and Brazil going at it at the moment. And we are now approaching the end of the quarter, but Jumar Fajardo fouled with a second left and misses 2 free throws. Or rather, Jumar Fajardo does foul and Leo Mendel misses 2 free throws. Let's take a look at the shot chart here. Gilas Pilipinas getting most of their three-pointers above the break, as well as finding their shot spread towards the interior, while Brazil got a corner 3 early on, and of course another three-pointer above the break as well. A very good spread here coming from Brazil in terms of their shot selection. But even if they do have that good spread, Gilas Pilipinas shooting 44% from the field, 8 of 18, and more importantly, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, 60% here for Gilas Pilipinas, while Brazil shooting 2 of 8 from beyond the arc. The numbers here at the end of the quarter. If you take a look at the game stats here, biggest lead for Gilas Pilipinas stood at 10, while Brazil led by as much as 5. And in terms of the rebounding, the Philippines actually has done a good job rebounding as a group, as a team, and they have rebounded 13 to 10. They have out-rebounded Brazil rather 13 to 10 so far. And for those wondering why the quarter hasn't ended, why there was only 1 second left, that is because Justin Brownlee drained a couple of free throws to make it a 10-point game going into quarter number 2. Great start here for Gilas Pilipinas after Brazil came out of the game with a bit of a run here. Worried a few fans. Early three-pointer for Brazil, 5-0 run for Brazil to start out quarter number 1, but it hasn't necessarily gone their way since then. Since their early burst here, talking about Brazil, as we try and take a quick look back on when that all started, they were 5-0 at the 8-minute mark, and then in the last 8 minutes, with 2 minutes played, and for the last 8 minutes of the game, they've only scored 7 points, while the Philippines outscored them 22-7 to end quarter number 1. That's the type of run Gilas Pilipinas would have wanted and are trying to keep, but of course the Philippines are going to try and maintain this. Brazil have shown us that they have the capability to turn things around in a hurry. We saw it in that second half against Cameroon in particular. They limited Cameroon to only 9 points in the fourth quarter, only 12 points in the third quarter in that game. So Gilas Pilipinas will be hoping that they will continue to have the answers to the defense of this Brazil team throughout the contest. You remember, you don't win the game in quarter number 1, you win in quarter number 4. And let's see where we're at going there so far. But good start here for Gilas Pilipinas against Brazil. Brazil will be trying their best to make up the numbers here. In terms of scoring here for Brazil, only Bruno Caboclo has scored more than 1 field goal. 2 of 4 from the field is Bruno Caboclo, doing a very good job rebounding as well. 5 rebounds for Bruno. And on the other end, Gilas Pilipinas are being led by Dwight Ramos has 8 points, and Justin Brownlee following up with 7, with Chris Newsom hitting 5 as well. Those are the typical starters for Coach Tim Cone and the rest of the Philippine national team staff. But of course, there is just so many weapons here for Brazil that could really make a big difference. Of course, we are still going to look at Cristiano Felicio, and we're going to still look at Bruno Caboclo. In fact, Cristiano Felicio almost featured in this really early, getting the steal, and unfortunately Lucas Diaz missing a three-pointer. And an offensive rebound from De Paula also results in a missed jumper from Iago Santos. Carl Tamayo finally getting the rebound here for Gilas Pilipinas. But another piece of news, well, not really a piece of news here, but then even Kevin Kiambao has entered the game for Gilas Pilipinas. He's seen spot minutes in the tournament so far, but no Kai Soto yet here for Gilas Pilipinas, as Junmar Fajardo, one of the perennial MVP favorites in the Philippine Basketball Association, gets the first points in the second quarter for the Philippines as they now lead 24 to 14 after Yago Santos finally getting a score here for Brazil as well. Yago Santos leading this Brazil team in terms of assists will try to become one of the scorers here as the Philippines are going to try and hold this Brazil team off for obviously trying to search for answers because offensively a bit difficult here for Brazil so far. Again, shooting at a paltry 29% in this game so far, and have only shot 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. Maybe it's the defense of the Philippines giving them a hard time from beyond the arc, chasing down the shooters and making them shoot from uncomfortable situations, but still hasn't really worked out. Justin Brownlee coming in here for Dwight Ramos. That was a few minutes rest here for Justin Brownlee that I'm sure Coach Tim Cone will be hoping will pay dividends in the future. You take a look at this Brazil team right now. Again, still Bruno Caboclo, the only player so far scoring more than one field goal here for Brazil. You gotta wonder, who do they have here that can pick up the scoring cudgels against this Gilas Pilipinas team? So you take a look at the turnovers forced as well. 5 turnovers already here for Brazil, while Gilas Pilipinas have not really matched it. They are only 1 turnover better at 4 turnovers here for Gilas Pilipinas. You take a look at the points from turnovers, so Gilas Pilipinas with a slight advantage 4-2. As Vitor Benite gets a pull-up jumper to fall here for this Brazil team, making it 24-16. Scoring has slowed down here in quarter number 2. And well, for the Philippines, they're going to be hoping that it slows down to a point that both teams crawl in terms of scoring so that they can keep this lead up. But again, at stake here is a spot in the final to make sure you're just one game away to make the 2024 Paris Olympics. As CJ Perez gets a jumper here for Gilas Pilipinas to make it a double-digit advantage yet again. This is a bit of the same here with what happened between the Brazil and Cameroon, with Cameroon getting off to a strong start against Brazil. Brazil, of course, getting a bit of help here courtesy of Yago Santos draining a triple and forcing Coach Tim Cone to a timeout with around 6:43 left here in the second quarter. And of course, we would like to give some new members a shout out for those who have subscribed to the FIBA page. Of course, Mel Cabrera and Mindtricks Music, as well as Mark House. I hope I am saying that right, or that could be Mark Chaos. I'm not quite sure. But either way, thank you very much for becoming a new member here on this FIBA page. And this is going to be something to watch out for, by the way. I'm looking at the live chat that we're having here. Of course, thank you to everyone chatting here and making this very good atmosphere. And of course, I just want to correct Miss Angela Tanurdzic. This is Philippines, not Philadelphia. So I hope you're not on the wrong stream. But thank you very much for being here anyway. As Yago Santos, by the way, got the 3-pointer a while ago, and there are a few worried Filipinos in the live chat as we take a look at the numbers here between these two so far. And here, 3-point shooting still at 27% for Brazil, and shooting a 3 of 11 from beyond the arc. No player has shot more than 2 3-pointers here for Brazil. Yago Santos, in particular, Gui Santos, as well as Lucas Diaz are the only ones who have hit a 3-pointer, as Junmar Fajardo hits a turnaround J here for Gilas to up the lead back to 9, 28-19, with around 6:12 left to play in quarter number 2 and in the first half. And of course, Gilas Pilipinas will try to hold on to this And of course, the triangle still a weapon that Coach Tim Cohn has has tried to perfect throughout his long career. Of course, Jumar Fajardo getting the two-pointer a while ago. That is such a well, that is a weapon that he has developed throughout his young career. In Philippines, he's called the Kraken, and the Philippines don't mind releasing him, especially when things get a bit tough. He's been the pivot of one of the best teams in the PBA, the San Miguel Beermen, throughout the years. Of course, losing recently though in a recent championship game against the Meralco Bulls, and Chris Newsom is a national teammate here today. Of course, CJ Perez getting defensive rebound. And Dwight Ramos will come back in here for Junmar Fajardo as Gilas Pilipinas sacrifice a bit of size here in their lineup. So Junmar Fajardo checks out, still on the floor with Japet Aguilar, Calvin Oftana. Dwight Ramos will be splitting the ball handling duties with Justin Brownlee, who has just scored another floating jump shot, making it a double-digit advantage, 11-point lead. CJ Perez, the playmaker in this situation. And of course, yes, a lot of people are praying that Dwight Ramos hits a three-pointer on our live chat. And I'm not surprised. At least understanding, of course, the Filipino public. Brazil, on the other hand, is a bit quiet on the chat. Can't wait to hear more of you guys. Remember, for those who are really basketball heads, don't forget you can actually join in the chat as well for the next game, I believe. Of course, Cameroon will be taking on Latvia in the other semifinals, as a couple of fouls here between these two. A missed three-pointer again for Vitor Benite. Offensive rebound though for Jorginho De Paula. As Brazil are trying to keep their possessions alive, have been doing a good job doing that actually. So we're going to take a look at some of the rebounding numbers here. Already 7 offensive rebounds here from Brazil, but their second chance points only at 6. Gilas Pilipinas with 5. As De Paula gets a step back jumper to fall. And looking at the numbers here, Gilas Pilipinas are actually out rebounding Brazil 17 to 15 at this point in time. But then Brazil have done a better job at keeping the ball alive in terms of their own possessions, offensive rebounds, and that has led to at least 6 second chance points here. And it has been split inside the paint, 8 and 8 for Gilas and Brazil, as De Paula, Cristiano Felicio increases the offensive rebound count here to 8. And he will also get a jumper here to make the lead only 7, to trim the lead down to 7 here for Gilas Pilipinas. And this is a nice little run Brazil are going at. It's going to be important here for them to finally get things together. And they're going to be hoping that this is a little bit of run. A 4-0 push here so far. Calvin Oftana getting an offensive rebound after missed Justin Brownlee layup. But then De Paula again has been everywhere. The steal from De Paula, but a missed layup. Cristiano Felicio with an offensive rebound one more time. Another missed rebound. Another rebound for Felicio. The Philippines can't end the possession as Cristiano Felicio holds on to this one again. But then finally, Calvin Oftana getting that one. That's a bit of a gift for Gilas Pilipinas, because Calvin Oftana ended, I believe they had 3 attempts in that one possession, talking about Brazil, and Gilas Pilipinas has dodged the bullet there. Let's see how they execute here. A foul from Iago Santos on Justin Brownlee. So 30 to 23. As of course we're watching both. I'm watching both the live chat and the live stream as Chris Newsom comes back in to try to stabilize a backcourt here for Gilas Pilipinas in exchange for CJ Perez. CJ Perez a bit more of offensive option, at least known here in the Philippines. Chris Newsom more of a 3-and-D guy, but he has shown quite an expansion in his game throughout his career so far. As Justin Brownlee hits a fadeaway 3. Again, Justin Brownlee has led this entire tournament in scoring with 27 points per game. Bruno Caboclo, the leading scorer for Brazil throughout the tournament, only had 17. only has 17 points per game here, and it has been a big difference maker. Of course, we would like to promote our YouTube membership program and invite you guys to join. Of course, a lot of benefits that you can get being a YouTube member of the FIBA channel. So make sure you go check that out. Consider it as Huertas gets a pull-up jumper to go to pull the lead back to only 8. 25-33 still in favor of Gilas Pilipinas. De Paula fouls Justin Brownlee again. Justin Brownlee, my word, getting it done once more. Coach Tim Cohn said in a press conference recently that the NBA missed out on this guy. Someone dropped the ball on Justin Brownlee and he ended up playing in the Philippines. Well, for the Filipinos, they're going to be saying their loss is the Philippines' gain, as Justin Brownlee already with 12 points in this game, as well as 2 rebounds and no assists yet, though he is the leading assist maker for Gilas Pilipinas. He is shooting 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 67%, and 4 of 9 from the field. Jumar Fajardo checks back in for Japet Aguilar, as well as Bruno Caboclo coming in for Cristiano Felicio. Defensive rebound here for Bruno Caboclo, as Dwight Ramos missed the lead for Brazil. Philippines number 1, Calvin Oftana, defensive rebound there, as Huertas misses a shot. Of course, Chris Newsom also misses. And Bruno Caboclo, with a turnover here, because that is an offensive foul. Just a bit too excited, I guess. As Gilas Pilipinas will also call for time. Okay, so for those wondering, thank you very much for joining us here in this YouTube chat party, or you could be watching it on the FIBA website as well. We'd like to say thank you so much for being part of this. For those wondering where is the game, you're not going to find it here. This is going to be something on the side if you prefer this type of commentary, this type of interaction that we're having on the chat. Right over there, I think I'm pointing at the right spot. Yes, I am. So that chat there, we're going to see if we can read a few things there for everyone all over the world. And of course, do like and do share, and of course, do subscribe to the FIBA YouTube page. And of course, there are a few benefits you can get from that as well. We actually had a couple of rookies who did sign up a while ago: Mel Cabrera, Mind Tricks Music, and Mark Chaos. I'm gonna assume that is Mark Chaos. And of course, to all our kababayans watching here, thank you very much for joining us. And to everyone watching in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, wherever you are, thank you for being here as well. For those wondering where you could watch it, wherever you are around the world, in the Philippines, you can catch it on Signal TV. So that's going to be on One Sports as well as Pilipinas Live. And if you're in Brazil, you can catch it on ESPN. And if you are neither in the Philippines or Brazil, FIBA obviously has a way where you can watch it as well. You can catch that on courtside1891.com. That's courtside1891.com. Remember, this is a chat party. Have fun, respectfully, with each other. And of course, Kai Soto, for those wondering, a lot of people are looking into the Kai Soto at the moment, wondering why he's not playing. Why are we not seeing any numbers for him? Remember, he was a game time decision after getting an X-ray done yesterday. After that game against Georgia, he exited early. Of course, we're seeing the numbers here for Justin Brownlee: 12 points, 2 rebounds, averages around 27 points per game. He is on pace to at least come close to that. And no Kai Soto here so far, but Lauzada, Didi Lauzada, getting a 2-point lay-in here for Brazil to trim the lead down to only 33-27. So they're knocking on the door here. Gilas Pilipinas, they do have the lead but cannot afford to be comfortable. With around 26 seconds left here in quarter number 2. Of course, Gilas Pilipinas will try to slow things down, trying to put as many possessions in between them and Brazil going into the halftime break in Latvia. Again, a lot at stake here. Jumar Fajardo misses the fadeaway J, and Brazil ends the possession and call for a timeout they are going to try to make this one possession ball game with a 3 or come a bit closer with a quick 2. Gilas Pilipinas have some defending to do here with this timeout coming, and Coach Tim Cone will be wary, I am sure, going into this one. Of course, we would like to thank this guy, Mickey Boy Zopikar, for this super chat. He says, "Go Philippines," with the Philippine flag and a couple of flexes as well. Of course, time out here for Brazil. Thank you very much for Nicky Boy. Again, you can go and join and subscribe if you want a bit more attention on our chat as well. And of course, we love closer to the game as well. And of course, a lot to work with as we're now looking through some of the chats. Yes, Regina Claire, the game is being broadcasted online via FIBA. Actually, you can check that out again. Let me bring out the website for you. Courtside1891.com. It's courtside1891.com. So that is how you can view it online. And of course, defensive change here. CJ Perez coming in for Chris Newsom, probably to preserve his fouls as well for Coach Tim Cone. As we are about to see the last possession here for Brazil in this half. Of course, Gilas Pilipinas and Brazil. Every single possession matters, and Brazil can trim this down to a one possession ball game going into the second half. That will be a big deal. That will be a big deal. So rather, it's not .com, it's courtside 1891, courtside 1891.basketball. All right, courtside 1891.basketball, not .com. All right, so for those who went to .com, I apologize. That was a mistake. CJ Perez gave the foul to make it a bit more difficult here for Brazil to have this shot, and of course it led to Bruno Caboclo having a 3-point step back jumper under duress and unable to get that fall. So that means we go into the halftime break with Gilas Pilipinas leading Brazil 33-27 at the half. It has been a game wherein Gilas Pilipinas started out slowly. Brazil went on to a 5-0 run to start out quarter number 1. Unfortunately for them, they could not maintain their momentum. Brazil have found a way to sort of bounce back, though, able to trim the deficit after trailing by as much as 12. Now only trail 33-27. Biggest scoring run for Brazil was an 8-0 run. In fact, rather a 5-0 run, but Gilas Pilipinas have had the large share of the lead. 14 minutes, 59 seconds, practically 15 minutes out of the 20 here in this first half. Gilas Pilipinas being out-rebounded by Brazil 23-20. The assists not really flying, but then for Gilas Pilipinas, they have actually kept their turnover numbers down here against this Brazil team. They do have to be careful here because Brazil have all shown us that they can be a completely different team at the halftime break. Of course, all the Brazil fans will know, especially with what happened against Cameroon, that they can turn it up. They've only limited Cameroon for 21 points the entire second half for them, and were able to pull out a small win there. And of course, thank you very much to everyone watching, or rather joining us here on this chat party. And yes, for those wondering, I am Filipino. I can see that they're wondering if I am Filipino. But trying to be as unbiased as possible for everyone watching all over the world. Again, if you're watching us from Brazil, I'd like to welcome you to what has been a very Filipino chat party here. I want to see more Portuguese on this chat. And we'll see whether or not the Philippines will be able to answer anything really to what you guys say. But of course, to all those joining us on the chat and making a lively party, thank you very much for being here. And of course, for those wondering, you can also catch the if you want to catch youth basketball as well, the Under 17 World Cup semifinals will also be shown on the FIBA YouTube channel. And this is not just a live chat anymore. You can actually watch the entire game. So go out there and see the future of international basketball. Who knows, your future favorite player could be playing there later on as well. So the FIBA Under 17 World Cup semifinals will be shown on the channel as well. And we're going to see who will advance to the final. Of course, we're going to bring up some of the games and some of the game schedules for that as well. Right now, ongoing classification matches, but then there's going to be a semi-final between Team USA and New Zealand. The games are happening in Turkey, of course, and then right after that, Turkey and Italy will be in the final as well. Germany and France will be in classification for 9 to 12 as well, for those interested in that. So that's happening on the FIBA pages. That's the FIBA Under 17 World Cup semi-finals happening on the channel. Again, for those wondering, as I bring out some of the notes that I have made here. Again, you can catch this on courtside1891.basketball if you want to stream this from all over the world, around the world, and are not in the Philippines and in Brazil. For those watching in Brazil, you can catch it on ESPN, and for the Philippines, you can catch it on Signal TV, and you can also use the Filipinas Live app as well. Shout out to them. Of course, Chat Party presented by Smart, and of course, the Philippines are clinging on to a 33 to 27 lead here. Now, since I don't really have a commercial break, let us break down some of the numbers in this game instead. Take a look at some of the box scores here for Brazil in particular. Brazil have only had one player score in more than one field goal throughout this game, or rather, only had two players. Let me see if I can my math right. Yes, only two players score more than one field goal. That is Iago Santos, who's 2 of 6 from the field, as well as Bruno Caboclo, 2 of 5 from the field. Only Bruno Caboclo has scored more than... Oh, sorry, my eyesight failed me there a bit. But yes, Bruno Caboclo and Iago Santos are the only players in Brazil who actually have scored more than one field goal here so far. Iago Santos, who leads the team in assists, hasn't necessarily been the type of playmaker that we would have expected so far, only with 1 assist to his name. Marcelinho Huertas, a former Laker, if I'm not mistaken, is leading the assist count here for Brazil. Of course, Marcelo Huertas. I made a mistake. Is not the former Laker. Oh, yes, he is former Laker from 2015 to 2017. Of course, Laker fans will be a bit upset that I did not get that right. But of course, Gilas Pilipinas with the lead here, 33 to 27. As I go through the numbers again, Brazil have been only limited to a very poor 32% from the field and only 20% from beyond the arc. Gilas Pilipinas, on the other hand, are shooting 50% from beyond the arc, but they have only attempted 8 shots from beyond the arc. 4 of 8 from 3 is Gilas Pilipinas, while Brazil are at 3 of 15. So that hasn't been an efficient use of their field goal attempt opportunities. Gilas Pilipinas doing a good job again with the rebounding, keeping in pace, even though they are trailing 20 rebounds for Gilas Pilipinas. And they have been relying on the offense of Justin Brownlee, who has 12 points, and Dwight Ramos, who has 8. Chris Newsom also has 5 points, as well as Junmar Fajardo with 4. And it has been a team effort here so far. Japet Aguilar, who is coming in as an elder statesman for Gilas Pilipinas, leads the way in terms of rebounding with 5 rebounds. For Brazil, the rebounding battle has been dominated by Bruno Caboclo with 7 rebounds to his name, as well as 3 from Cristiano Felicio. And you have Gui Santos with 2 and Jorginho De Paula with 3 as well. In terms of the minute counts here for Gilas Pilipinas, Dwight Ramos has played 17 minutes already. Junmar Fajardo has had 16 minutes, while Justin Brownlee, not surprisingly, 18 minutes played already for Coach Tim Cone. Let's take a look at some of the game stats here between these two. Offensive rebounding, Brazil has dominated Gilas Pilipinas 10-5, but then you take a look at the second chance points, they only have a +3 advantage there. 8-5 in favor of Brazil in terms of second chance points. So they may have been extending possessions, but they haven't really taken advantage of the amount of times they have extended the possessions. Points in the paint, Brazil in charge there, 12-8. And of course, points for the bench, 13-2 in favor of Brazil. But they're still looking for answers here in terms of who can provide some more consistent offense for this Brazilian side. Take a look at some of the numbers here. Very marginal differences in terms of steals, in terms of assists, and turnovers, all knotted up at 6 apiece as well. Let's see what Brazil can do here in quarter number 3, because we saw it in their last game against Cameroon. Brazil were able to turn things around in a hurry against the Cameroonians. We'll go into the third quarter. We go back into that game between Brazil and Cameroon. They outscored Cameroon 16-12 in quarter number 3, and then had a +10 advantage quarter number 2, 19-9. So this is a team that can wake up and hurt you in a hurry. But, well, we're going to have to see if that is the case. For the Philippines, for this Brazil side, they typically shoot around 34% throughout the entire tournament so far, throughout the entire OQT. But here, in terms of their three-point shooting, Brazil have had a dismal day so far, only shooting 20%. That's a full 14 percentage points down here. So the third quarter is going to be set to be going. I want to welcome Alistair De Leon for being a rookie and subscribing to the FIBA YouTube channel. And of course, for those wondering, yes, the halftime is long. I know. I feel it. I'm talking throughout the entire halftime break. So I'm with you there. And of course, there we have a few fans from Brazil. Blair Waldorf, I'm pretty sure that's not your real name, coming in and supporting Brazil in the midst of a lot of Filipinos. And of course, a lot of people trying to figure out how Brazil are going to find a way back into this one. Right now, it's just it feels like that they just need to find someone to be a more consistent threat here against the Philippines, with only 2 guys hitting more than 2 shots throughout this entire game so far. Again, here's some of the leaders. Caboclo with 7 rebounds, Huertas with 3 assists and 5 points from Luis Santos. But they're still going to have to find a way to make things work. In quarter number 1, the spread of Brazil in terms of their shot selection was actually pretty good. All of their shots coming from either around the basket from close range or from beyond the arc. In fact, that's where all the shots were made. But then in quarter number 2, you saw a bit of a shift here from Brazil. It could be the defense from the Philippines, or maybe the shots that they're letting them have. But then Brazil actually made 3 long 2-pointers in a spot wherein, analytically speaking, not quite sure. Take a look at this here. We have it at the bottom of your screen. A proud Pinoy commenter. And of course, we appreciate all of the feedback that we're getting here on our chat. But again, remember, it's time to be respectful to each other as we are set to begin quarter number 3 in this do or die game in the semifinals for a chance, just a chance, to play for the final tickets, one of the 4 final tickets going to the 2024 Paris Olympics. Brazil, the favorites, taking on the underdog Philippines, as the Philippines are going to try and find a way to hold off a Brazil team who I am sure have dissected the Philippines throughout the halftime break. just like they did Cameroon, and will go into the third quarter with some renewed vigor. We're seeing the screen right now, and you're going to see Raul Neto, who is not playing here for Brazil at the moment, basically acting a bit of as a coach as well for this Brazil national team. Again, he has been a long time NBA veteran, playing teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, Utah Jazz, the Washington Wizards, who provides a lot of leadership. Not really the most athletic guy, a good shooter as well, but they are now missing his type of service, his type of game, his type of shooting, floor spacer here, because Brazil, as I mentioned a while ago, not doing very well here in terms of three-point shooting in this game between Gilas Pilipinas and Brazil. Welcome as well to Dexter De Leon joining us here. And of course, for those wondering, no, this is just a live chat party as well, not where you can catch the game. Yes, there's no live game broadcast in YouTube. You can catch that if you're in the Philippines on Signal TV, on One Sports Plus, or in Pilipinas Live, either online on your desktop, or you can download the app as well, subscribe. If you're in Brazil, you can catch it on ESPN. And if you are in neither the Philippines or in Brazil and you want to watch it, you can catch courtside. You can catch it at courtside 1891.basketball. Of course, we're seeing a few comments also fly in the bottom of our screen. Lorraine saying, let's go to the finals, Gilas. And of course, Shadow Wolf saying, I think Brazil is not serious in the first half. They need to prepare for a final game against Latvia. So let's see whether or not they'll even get there, or if Latvia can make there as well. Pinoy commentator, proud Pinoy Philippines #1. Yes, I am a Pinoy commentator, and trying to be as unbiased as possible as well. Once again, thank you very much for joining us in our chat party for today's do or die battle between Brazil and the Philippines. Winner goes to the finals, where they'll face the winner in the other semifinals matchup between Cameroon and Latvia. Cameroon, one of the most exciting teams throughout this Olympic qualifying tournament. You should watch that game. Latvia out for blood, really, after being disappointed by Gilas Pilipinas, being upset in their own home floor. Let's see if Latvia can turn it up a notch, and if we're going to see them in the final in their own home court. Again, thank you very much for joining us here on this live chat party. It's been fast, it's been furious. So we're seeing the view count rise, the like count rise as well. Come on and let's try and raise that a bit more. Make sure you press the thumbs up button. Make sure you get the view count up as Bruno Caboclo get an early bucket here for Brazil. Much needed bucket here for the Brazilians, as they now trim the lead down 33-29. Dwight Ramos misses the three-point fadeaway straight away. Of course, Bruno Caboclo, the way that he scored here, just finding a way to get close or get Junior Fajardo too close to the basket. Not much he could do there. And now a turnover here for Brazil, forcing a turn, and Chris Newsom getting the foul. Again, this Brazil team turned it up against Cameroon in the second half. They're a great team with regards to adjustments based on that particular contest. They can change the game. They could be a completely different side to what we saw in quarters #1 and 2. So a lot of credit here has to be given to Brazil. And of course, the Philippines not out of the woods yet, as Leo Mindel gets a steal here from Japet Aguilar after a bad pass. And of course, Brazil getting a basket, a three-pointer here to make it just a one-point game between Gilas Pilipinas and Brazil. Great start here for Brazil, making it a 5-0 sprint to start things out. So Gilas Pilipinas, we mentioned it a while ago. This was something that you had to expect. Brazil is going to come out strong, and a chance here to take the lead after Chris Newsom misses a jumper. Of course, this Brazil side, always dangerous. And remember, that resulted in a three-pointer a while ago, and another three-pointer here. What a start here from Brazil, 35-33. It has been an 8-0 run here for Brazil to start at quarter #3. exactly what we were talking about that Gilas Pilipinas did not want. And cue the timeout here for Coach Tim Cone. 8:16 left here in quarter number 3. Brazil coming out guns blazing. Gilas Pilipinas trying to find a way back into this one or wake up from that halftime break. But that is exactly what Brazil needed to get back into this ball game. 2-point lead here for Brazil as Gilas Pilipinas super time. And I'm sure Coach Tim Cone has a lot to say after that particular sequence. 8-0 run. My goodness. All of a sudden, 3-point shooting here for Brazil, now up to 34%. Oh, rather no. That is their average stats. You take a look at what they've seen here so far. Now up to 29%. So I hope you indulge me because I'm trying to listen to Coach Tim Cone's timeout right now. So Coach Tim Cone trying to remind his team to move the ball around has been a bit stagnant here in quarter number 3. It resulted in a couple of turnovers and easy points here for Brazil. Gilas Pilipinas will try their best to get back in the swing of things. But you take a look at the numbers here between these two. There's only been 2 lead changes. The Philippines took the lead from Brazil early in the first quarter after being at the receiving end of a 5-0 run from Brazil to start out this one. But here in quarter number 3, 8-0 start here for Brazil as they go on one of their bigger scoring runs. Dwight Ramos misses a pull-up three-pointer as Carl Tamayo did check in. Brazil with a defensive rebound, trying to up their lead to a 2-possession ball game with a basket here. Brazil trying to put the pressure on Gilas Pilipinas, who had a dream first half, but will try to give them a nightmare second one. Gilas Pilipinas trying to hold off Brazil. As right now, the biggest lead of Gilas was around 12 points. 5 points was the biggest lead of Brazil. They'll try to match it with a three-pointer here. But so far, it's just a foul drawn here with Carl Tamayo conceding 2 free throws. Again, this is the danger we all expected here from Brazil, or rather from Gilas Pilipinas, with Brazil showing everyone that they had the ability to turn the game around in the second half. They did that against Cameroon. The gap not as big as it was between in their last game to what we saw just now, as Lauzada misses 1 free throw, so that means it'll only be a 3-point game here between Gilas Pilipinas and Brazil. Just a 1-possession ball game, but the Philippines have yet to score here in quarter number 3, and you're already 2.5 minutes past as Justin Brownlee misses a fadeaway 3. Nothing working from Gilas Pilipinas on the offensive end, and Brazil will try to make them pay. It has been one-way traffic here in quarter number 3, as the lead of Gilas Pilipinas has suddenly evaporated as Huertas gets a 2-point jumper to go. 38-33 the count here, as since the third quarter, Bruno Caboclo, Jorginho De Paula, Leo Mindel, Didi Lozada, and now Marcelino Huertas has found a way to get Brazil back into this, just getting a lot of people to contribute here, and a block here from Bruno Caboclo on Dwight Ramos, with Lauzada getting the rebound, and Bruno Caboclo finishes with a flush. All of a sudden, Brazil in the driver's seat here, 40-33 in favor of the Brazilians, as Bruno Caboclo and the rest of Brazil have woken up. And cue the timeout as well from Coach Tim Cone. And we're now going through this, and people are still wondering, where is Kai Soto? For those wondering, Kai Soto had an injury to his rib and was a game time decision, and I think the decision has been not to let him play for health reasons for sure. Now, for those wondering where the Kaiju is, and right now it is a great run here for Brazil. Is a 13-0 run, if I'm not mistaken, give or take, since the quarter, and Philippines has yet to score here in quarter number three. Now, this was something that we had to watch out for as we were trying to listen to Kim Kong. Thirteen and a run here for Brazil, and Coach Tim Cone still preaching ball movement. Go around, go in and out, in and out. It hasn't really been the case here for Gilas Pilipinas. Brazil out sprinting, out running, out gunning Gilas Pilipinas here in this quarter. And it has been another block here for Bruno Caboclo as Junmar Fajardo unable to get his turnaround two to fall. Of course, Gilas Pilipinas just having a hard time here in this entire quarter, as Brazil have just shut the rim, shut the driving lanes, and it has been a difficult one here. Rebound here for Junmar Fajardo as Gilas Pilipinas will try and do a bit better here on transition, trying to look for their first points. Gilas just need a basket just to stop the bleeding, but this Brazil team has just been something else in quarter number three. Where has this team been in the first two quarters? Some of the Brazil fans are asking for sure. And it has been a bit torturous here for Gilas Pilipinas. Still no basket here for Gilas in this third quarter. Brazil doing everything right. Of course, defensive rebound here for Carl Tamayo as we go the other way, but another offensive foul. Bruno Caboclo getting the foul of Junmar Fajardo. Nothing going right here for the Philippines as we are almost at the halfway point of this third quarter, and yet the Philippines oh, okay, there it is. I thought I had a bit of a problem with the stream, but it looks like I'm all right. So Gilas Pilipinas finally will have a chance to get something going here, because Justin Brownlee has just been fouled and 2 free throws will be awarded here. We'll try to end the drought from the free throw line. Already past the halfway point, by the way, of this third quarter, and Gilas Pilipinas have yet to register a point. That has been a masterclass defensively here for Brazil. Oh, rather, that's not a foul for Justin Brownlee. He did commit the foul, and De Paula has missed the first of 2 free throws. My mistake there. So Justin Brownlee and the Philippines have yet to score here, and all of a sudden they find themselves down by 8. Remember, Gilas Pilipinas led by as much as 12 in the first half, but what a performance we're seeing here from Brazil on the defensive end as well. It's just been so difficult for Gilas Pilipinas to get anything going. They are not able to go to the foul line. They are not able to get the shots that they have been used to getting. And the ball hasn't been popping around like Coach Tim Cone has wanted. A missed jumper again from Justin Brownlee. The step back jump shot not working. As Huertas gets the defensive rebound. A chance here to make it a double-digit ball game with a 2 here, or maybe make it even worse with a 3-pointer as well. But Lauzada misses the 3-pointer. Let's see whether or not Gilas Pilipinas can take advantage here, but it's looking like it's going to be a bit difficult here for this Gilas Pilipinas team to get anything going. Again, still scoreless here. Almost 6 minutes played in quarter number 3. Brazil with an absolute masterclass defensively. Justin Brownlee draws a foul on De Paula as Gilas Pilipinas are just going to find a way to turn this horror show of a third quarter into something more positive, because Brazil have been amazing on the defensive end. Now we're going to take a look at some of the game stats here so far, and all of a sudden the shooting percentage of Gilas Pilipinas has dripped down to 34% in this one. As Junmar Fajardo finally ends the drought here for Gilas Pilipinas. Just a 6-point lead though for Brazil after all of that. But the Philippines were bleeding for points. It comes off an offensive rebound from Junmar Fajardo. Chris Newsom misses the lay-in, but then they're going to need more of that here. A bit more difficult as Junmar Fajardo is hit with a personal foul on Lauzada. Boy, what a quarter for Brazil. As a couple of changes here as CJ Perez comes in for Carl Tamayo, hoping to add a bit of scoring here for Gilas Pilipinas, while Lucas Diaz comes in here trying to hope that they maintain the same level here in this quarter. So far, for those wondering where we are in terms of the quarter scoring, it is 14-2 in favor of Brazil. Gilas Pilipinas got off to a 22-12 start in quarter number 1. Brazil were able to come up with a 15-11 quarter in their favor as Justin Brownlee misses another jump shot there. Offensive rebound though for Gilas Pilipinas. And Brazil have continued improving their defense as time goes by as Justin Brownlee draws a foul on Lucas Diaz. 14-2. That is not a typo in favor of Brazil as they have stolen the lead from Gilas Pilipinas 41-35. But there is still a chance here for Gilas to do something and come in close enough. And you have a bit of a trash talk going on in the chat with certain Senorito Burrito saying that Gilas Pilipinas has had a good run. And it has been a bit of a difficult quarter as Dwight Ramos misses on the jumper and Lucas Diaz gets a defensive rebound. Brazil on the move yet again. And a steal here for Justin Brownlee, but a turnover from Chris Newsom. Nothing going right here for Gilas Pilipinas. They've only scored 2 points this entire quarter. Where has the offense gone here for Gilas Pilipinas? And can this Brazil defense hold up all the way to the end? Iago Santos coming in for Huertas, who had a fantastic contribution here in quarter number 3. So far, this quarter has been proving the difference in this game so far. 41-35 the count here. Justin Brownlee has been absent as well as every other Gilas. Here, if they can trim the lead down as Iago Santos gets a 3-pointer to make it a 9-point ball game. It comes off a bad pass from Dwight Ramos, a steal from De Paula, and getting a big bucket here to make it 44-35. It hasn't been a vintage day at all here. That ball just thrown away, but CJ Perez finally ends the bleeding just for the moment here, but it's still a big lead, 44-37. Gilas Pilipinas still in this with a shout, but we'll need a few more good defensive possessions and a better offense on the other end because Brazil have turned things around on the defensive end. They've tightened the screws. It's exactly what happened against Cameroon, but Brazil have been doing a lot more defensively. A foul here from Justin Brownlee, 2 free throws awarded as Brazil will try to get those 2 points back that CJ Perez just got. So far, 17-4 the count here, trying to make it 19-4 here, talking about Brazil as Bruno Caboclo will have 2 free throws. Didi Lauzada coming in for Leo Meindl. Of course, that one, Justin Brownlee, I just saw the foul that he committed, just battling with Bruno Caboclo for that rebound, but Bruno did get the rebound ahead. makes the 2 free throws as the lead rises to 9 yet again. Gilas Pilipinas having a really tough time here in quarter number 3. It has been a horror show defensively and offensively, 19-4 for Gilas, but it has been a dream come true here for Brazil, who all of a sudden just shut the water off the offense of Gilas Pilipinas as Junmar Fajardo hits a fadeaway J, making it a more manageable ball game, 46-39. Dwight Ramos with the assist, Junmar Fajardo with the basket. 19-6 quarter scoring in favor of Brazil. And Brazil, all the credit in the world because they have done so much work in the halftime break with their adjustments, just swarming defensively, a lot more effort there. And Bruno Caboclo coming to life, as well as Huertas and Lucas Diaz getting the three-pointer to go. The three-point ball has been falling here for Brazil in quarter number 3. It has been night and day, and it is a double-digit advantage for Brazil here in this ball game. As we take a look at what Brazil has done, 7 of 24 all of a sudden from beyond the arc. Personal foul on Bruno Caboclo as Junmar Fajardo is fouled. Oh, what a quarter here for Brazil. You got to hand it to them. As Japet Aguilar will come in for Junmar Fajardo at the moment. Of course, right now, Gilas Pilipinas just struggling here. They went to zone just a bit. And of course, Kai Soto not playing due to an injury. He was elbowed in the ribs in their last game against Georgia, and that was questionable going into this game. So it was a game time decision. Unfortunately for Gilas Pilipinas, another turnover here for CJ Perez, and they are going to go the other way. And it's a 10-point advantage here for Brazil. And Gilas Pilipinas will try to keep it at 10-point advantage here, with Brazil having another possession here and on the attack. And as a missed shot there from Lauzada, but then Lucas Diaz there to clean up to make it a 51-39 advantage for Brazil at the end of the third quarter. From bad to worse, what a quarter from Brazil here. As we take a look at the quarter scoring, 24-6. That is not a typo. Only 6 points for Gilas Pilipinas in quarter number 3, while Brazil blasted them for 24. Gilas Pilipinas were in the lead. They led by as much as 12. But all of a sudden, here comes Brazil saying, I see your 12 and I'm going to raise you 12. Let's see whether or not Gilas Pilipinas can do the same thing in quarter number 4. They're still not out of this one, but Gilas Pilipinas are seeing their Olympic dreams start to dim here going to quarter number 4. Let's see whether or not there's going to be something different here in the fourth quarter. But for Brazil, things are looking bright for them as they will try to push this into a sure thing in quarter number 4. Take a look at some of the numbers here. All of a sudden, 7 of 24 from beyond the arc of Brazil, now shooting at 29%. Not necessarily the numbers that they're used to. Gilas Pilipinas shooting at a higher clip, but then shooting a lot less from beyond the arc. Gilas Pilipinas in particular in the third quarter, from 3-point land rather. 4 of 11. So they are shooting 36%, but then they are shooting it significantly less. They have only attempted 11 times, while Brazil has attempted 24 times. And they've made 7. So those 7 3-pointers have made such a big difference here today. This has been a big problem for Gilas Pilipinas, matching up against the shooters sometimes. Junmar Fajardo in particular has been attacked in the drop coverage by Brazil. So let's see if there will be adjustments. We saw Junmar Fajardo subbed out for Japet Aguilar, who is a better defender on the ball. He's a better help defender though. But let's see whether or not that will be something that Gilas Pilipinas can adjust and will adjust, as Coach Tim Cohn looks worryingly up at the scoreboard. It is still doable here. 12-point lead here for Brazil with 10 minutes left. But then Gilas Pilipinas will be hoping this is not their last 10 minutes in this Olympic qualifying tournament. While Brazil are going to do their best to make sure that there are no more mistakes here. They cannot afford a quarter like what they had in quarter number 1, wherein Gilas Pilipinas just went out on fire. Gilas Pilipinas with the inbound, and will try to change things here. Justin Brownlee misses with his first shot. as Bruno Caboclo ends up with the defensive rebound. What a time for Justin Brownlee to go a little cold here for Gilas Pilipinas, but things can change here, as any PBA fan would know that Justin Brownlee could suddenly get hot in a hurry. But then the shot here from De Paula misses, and Justin Brownlee gets a defensive rebound. Can Gilas Pilipinas do something a bit different here? Thank you very much for joining us on our live chat party, as Dwight Ramos hits a big triple here for Gilas Pilipinas to pull them within single digits yet again. Just a +9 advantage now for Brazil. Much needed, to say the least, here, talking about Gilas Pilipinas, with Dwight Ramos a bit quiet since that first quarter wherein he exploded. But then here he is, Dwight Ramos reintroducing himself to Brazil. Can the Philippines ride that momentum just a bit and unsettle Brazil? Because defensively, oh boy, it's been a bit of a problem. Bruno Caboclo misses out, and Dwight Ramos gets a defensive rebound. A chance here for Gilas Pilipinas to open up the fourth quarter with a little run. They'll need all the runs that they can get. A foul here on Yago Santos. Chris Newsom drawing that well. So Gilas Pilipinas trailing 51-42 against a very good Brazil team in the third quarter. Brazil just put the clamps down on Gilas Pilipinas so impressively. 24-6 was the count, and another traveling violation here on Chris Newsom. Another turnover for Gilas Pilipinas. Let's take a look at some of the numbers here in terms of the turnovers for Gilas. Right now, 13 turnovers for Gilas Pilipinas, with 13 points of turnovers for Brazil in this game so far. As we go the other way, Brazil trying to end what Gilas Pilipinas were hoping was going to be a bright start for them, with 8:40 left here in the fourth quarter. And a foul from Justin Brownlee. Lucas Diaz draws the foul. And fortunately for Gilas Pilipinas, they will not send him to the line yet. Calvin Oftana checking in for Chris Newsom, trying to add a bit more scoring punch, especially from the perimeter. Talking about Calvin Oftana. Also, he has a big body, able to defend other guards as well as some threes. Of course, a rebounding battle in favor of Brazil at the moment, 35-32. But another offensive rebound here from Lauzada. And a missed layup, but a block there from Japet Aguilar. Justin Brownlee comes away with a defensive rebound. 51-42 the count. Philippines are running a bit more here. And a bit more activity here. And a foul for Brazil. De Paula fouling Justin Brownlee. And things are going to start getting cagey here. The team that ends up in the penalty first might actually find themselves at a disadvantage, as Gilas Pilipinas and Brazil are trying to find out who will book their first spot into the final in the Olympic Qualifying Tournament in Riga, Latvia. Again, I'm waiting the winner of the other semifinal matchup between Latvia and Cameroon. Cameroon, one of the surprise teams in this entire Olympic qualifying tournament. And Japet Aguilar sees his shot blocked by De Paula. Bruno Caboclo comes away with a defensive rebound. Brazil going the other way, trying to put the lead back up to double digits here for Brazil. And Gilas Pilipinas need to increase their scoring prowess. And CJ Perez comes away with a steal, picking the pocket of Lauzada. And CJ Perez gets a much-needed two-pointer. So we'll take a look at what Gilas Pilipinas has done. A 5-0 start here. A bit slow, but then Brazil have yet to score in the fourth quarter. Defensive rebound here for Justin Brownlee. De Paula misses the three-pointer. 51-44 the count. Gilas Pilipinas looking for an option. It is a miss from Calvin Oftana from beyond the arc. 51-44. As again, what a play there from CJ Perez a while ago, as Huertas finally gets a pull-up jumper to fall. First points of the quarter here for Brazil. 9-point advantage for the Brazilians, as Gilas Pilipinas are nearing the halfway point of the fourth quarter, still trailing 53-44. Huertas has been big, especially in this second half. Let's take a look at the numbers of Marcelinho Huertas, 6 points as well as 5 assists in this one. Efficiency rating of 4 according to the website of Gilas Pilipinas. Offensive rebound for Justin Brownlee, and Japet Aguilar gets a 2-point jumper. 53-46. Gilas Pilipinas 7-2 run here to start out quarter number 4. Good first steps here, but Brazil gets a big 3 from Huertas. What did we say about Huertas? 9 points already in this ball game, and hitting his first 3-pointer, much needed. 1 of 4 from beyond the arc here is Huertas. Not afraid of the big moments, not afraid of the big shots. Defensive rebound here coming from Caboclo after the missed layup from CJ Perez. And Brazil getting a lay-in from Bruno Caboclo. 12-point game in favor of the Brazilians. Lauzada with assist and a foul by Justin Brownlee. It's a foul and 1. Caboclo will get the bonus. So Gilas Pilipinas are seeing their Olympic dreams flicker in front of their eyes. Brazil are seeing their dream burn brighter after what was an incredible third quarter performance. Gilas Pilipinas doing what they can, though, to turn the narrative around. So far in the quarter, Brazil have outscored the Philippines by 1, 8-7. But then you have to take a look back at what happened in the third quarter. 24-6 again. Free throw made here by Bruno Caboclo as Junmar Fajardo checks back in for Japet Aguilar. They need scoring. They need more ball movement going in and out. Gilas Pilipinas need to find a way to score, and they need to score in a hurry. Of course, with the way Bruno Caboclo and the rest of Brazil have approached the second half, it's always going to be tough for Gilas Pilipinas to do anything here. And again, things slowing down here. Gilas Pilipinas having a hard time dissecting this defense from Brazil. As Gilas on the attack again. Able to get an offensive rebound here. Junmar Fajardo off the missed 3-point shot by Dwight Ramos. But then a block here from Lucas Diaz, and he gets the rebound. Junmar Fajardo being contained here by the Brazilians, and you can see the Philippine fans all worried here. And why not? But Brazil, it's party time for them. And again, you're gonna have to hope, if you're Gilas Pilipinas, that there is a bit of a little rally here. But Bruno Caboclo goes to the free throw line yet again, as Junmar Fajardo is fouled, or rather fouls him. That's first of the 2 free throws made by Bruno. And what a performance has been for Brazil as Caboclo gets the 2 free throws. Time running out here for Gilas Pilipinas as the lead starts to balloon. It has been a 10-7 quarter so far for Brazil. But what a performance it has been for the Brazilians. After what was a slow and almost discouraging start here for Brazil, wherein they were losing to the Philippines in quarter number 1, 22-12. Things was changed in a hurry. CJ Perez with another steal here after a steal there from Leo Mindel. And just a couple of bad passes, but then of course this not resulting in a fast break score here for Gilas Pilipinas. But Justin Brownlee with a much needed 3-pointer. 61-49. Gilas Pilipinas still alive but on life support at the moment. Brazil looking to pull the plug. Swing, swing, says Brazil as they are trying to slow the game down and relegate the Philippines. As Huertas, again, big second half for Huertas, gets a 2-point pull-up jumper to go. Answering back whatever the Philippines throws at them. +2 in terms of quarter scoring here. The turnover here for Justin Brownlee. Lucas Diaz with the steal. And Brazil getting the foul from CJ Perez. Huertas getting that one. Much better quarter here from the Philippines, even despite all the turnovers and all of that. But then Brazil still riding on what was a dominant quarter number 3, are looking really good going into a prospective finals matchup against Latvia or Cameroon. Right now, the layup made by Leo Mindel, and it has been all Brazil here in the second half. Looks like no minor miracle here for the Philippines, as Brazil are looking good value for money here going to the end of this, as Dwight Ramos finally hits a jumper with Justin Brownlee giving the assist. But it has been one of those quarters wherein the Philippines just could not find any solutions going into the quarter number 3 and quarter number 4. Scoring has picked up here for Gilas, but then too little too late with a 14-point lead here with 3 minutes left. A it will take a catastrophic meltdown here for Brazil to let this one go, as Huertas gets another jumper to go. Timeout for the Philippines, as they are going to try and pull a rabbit out of the hat here for the Philippines. But Brazil have just been dominant here in this second half period. Let's take a look at some of the numbers here as Gilas Pilipinas goes through this timeout. So far, it has been a +4 advantage in quarter number 4 for Brazil in terms of quarter scoring. But in quarter number 3, 24-6. That was the lead of Brazil in terms of the scoring against the Philippines. And that has made things so difficult here for Gilas Pilipinas. And they are now looking at the end of their trip here in Riga, Latvia, unless something miraculous happens. But Coach Tim Cohn will try and get the best out of his boys towards the end. But Coach Tim Cohn, with a bit of silence, before finally coming in with a few instructions for his boys, trying to make this a more decent quarter here for Gilas Pilipinas. Again, the defense failed them in quarter number 3. Credit Brazil, because Brazil really ramped up their game in quarter number 3. They ran hard, they forced turnovers, and made things so difficult on the defensive end. They were able to answer whatever Gilas Pilipinas threw at them. Even the zone defense of Gilas Pilipinas could not stop Brazil in quarter number 3. A lot different in the fourth quarter, though, with Gilas Pilipinas finding ways to move the ball around a bit better, trying to score off the turnovers. CJ Perez doing a good job at that. But at the end of the day, Brazil coming up big. Again, you're seeing a lot of the Brazil fans who were quiet in the first half on our party chat, now making some noise, because why not? Look at the performance that they've had here in the second half. 67-51. Gilas Pilipinas having a hard time in terms of their execution, in terms of stopping Brazil in that third quarter in particular, as Jumar Fajardo gets the first of 2 free throws to try to make the score a bit more respectable going into the fourth quarter. But then what a performance here from Brazil, who are just one step closer to making it to the Olympic Games in Paris 2024. Brazil, now going into this one, we'll try to go through this one as calmly as possible, because they are now looking good for finals appearance here against Latvia or Cameroon. CJ Perez gets a steal of Huertas here, and unfortunately could not finish off the fast break. But then they give it to Carl Tamayo, who gets a 3. And it is an 11-point game. And cue the timeout for Brazil. They are not going to take any chances, because all of a sudden it is a 5-0 run here for Gilas Pilipinas in the span of around 12 seconds or 12 or 14 seconds. Right now, Gilas Pilipinas has caused a bit of worry here for this Brazil, but then still an 11-point lead. Corner 3 for Carl Tamayo forced a timeout from Brazil. And again, we've seen stranger things happen in basketball, but then it's still looking like Brazil is going to make their way to the finals here, awaiting either Cameroon or Latvia in the final of this contest. Brazil, again, good value for their lead. An incredible quarter number 3 defensively, 24-6 in favor of Brazil. I don't know what's even better, the way that they executed their offense, the way they forced Gilas into turnovers, or the way that they just stifled everything Gilas Pilipinas has done. triangle offense didn't work out, transition baskets didn't work out. Gilas Pilipinas had a hard time holding on to the ball because of the pressure exerted by this Brazilian team. So let's see what we're going to do here. Gilas Pilipinas shooting 3 of 7 from beyond the arc here in quarter number 4 as Calvin Oftana will check in here. A bit of a defense-offense substitution here with Brazil having the ball because Jumar Fajardo a bit subject to the drop coverage, and Brazil have been attacking that as is most international teams. Of course, Brazil has been one of those teams to watch out for in general here. They were going to be one of the teams expected to make it to the final of the tournament in general as a missed layup there by Carl Tamayo. Lucas Diaz comes away with the rebound. And that might do it here for Gilas Pilipinas because the time just too short here with a plus 11 advantage for Brazil with a minute 40 left here in this quarter. Brazil, misses the alley-oop here. But an offensive rebound from Diaz and he still tips it up. So again, just one of those moments here for Gilas Pilipinas. A good fight, but then the third quarter, that Brazilian third quarter was just too much for Gilas Pilipinas to handle. And they are going to unfortunately pack their bags and go home after this particular contest with only a minute 17 left here in quarter number 4. But Brazil, what a showing they've had here. Now, they are subject to the poor quarter or two. We saw it in their game against Cameroon. We saw that in the first quarter against Gilas Pilipinas. But then when they're good, boy, can lock down defensively. We saw that in that third quarter in particular. It was a fantastic showing defensively as CJ Perez gets a 2-point basket there to go. And it has been one of the more impressive performances here that we've seen in this particular Olympic qualifying tournament. We saw that amazing run by Cameroon in that first half against Brazil. We saw Gilas Pilipinas just take control against Latvia in their matchup, wherein Gilas Pilipinas looked like they were a team that could shock the world. But here, Brazil making sure that no mistakes were made. This is a team that was locked in from start to finish, or rather locked in from the second half, third quarter and fourth quarter, and has been just incredible in this particular one and well deserving of that slot in the finals. Now for Gilas Pilipinas, back to the drawing board for the national team program. Again, they are trying to keep this group together under Coach Tim Cohn for a longer haul. Of course, Gilas Pilipinas only had 10 players to choose from here today without Kai Soto being available due to his injury that he suffered against Georgia. Not able to play. Of course, that injury saw him go to the hospital, make sure they had an x-ray, had injury to his ribs. There is no fracture, but of course, even if there was no fracture, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're completely healthy. And with that, Kai Soto not showing off, some of the Filipino fans are now going to be wondering, if Kai Soto was there, could he have made a difference in this game? Of course, on the other end, a lot of congratulations we have to send Brazil's way. What a game we saw from Huertas and Caboclo, especially in that second half. Great performance there. Philippines leading the quarter scoring here in the fourth quarter, but it's going to not matter a lot. You take a look at Huertas, who's leading the scoring, as well as Bruno Caboclo. 15 from Caboclo, 13 from Huertas. Huertas shooting 6 of 14 from the field, but then he had 6 assists as well. We can't forget about De Paula as well, who has had a block, as well as a plus 22 in this game so far, as De Paula scores there, making it a 71-58 ball game here between Gilas Pilipinas and Brazil. And Brazil just reminding Gilas the standards that they have to reach on a more consistent level to make it to the Olympics. But the Philippines will fall short here and will have to wait another Olympic cycle for another chance to make it to the Olympic Games. Well, for Brazil, now they're going to have a chance because they are going to the finals of the Olympic qualifying tournament in Riga, Latvia, where they await either Cameroon or the host nation Latvia. And I'm not even sure of how that game will go because of the way Cameroon's been playing. But Latvia still going into that one as a prohibitive favorites. Make sure you also catch that on whatever net channels that you can get to, whatever networks that you can get to as well. And this one is going to be it here for Gilas Pilipinas. So congratulations to Brazil, commiserations to Gilas Pilipinas, as Gilas Pilipinas will take the loss here, with Brazil taking the win and booking their ticket to the final 7-1 to 60 in Arena Riga in Latvia. What a run for Gilas Pilipinas. A lot of people did not expect that they would make it to the semifinals, but they not only shocked the world with that win against Latvia, but they were also able to make sure that they did not allow Georgia to throw a wrench into their own problems, or throw a wrench into their own plans of making it to the semis. Great start against Brazil, falling short, particularly in that third quarter. That third quarter performance wherein Brazil was able to get the win that quarter 24-6 was the biggest difference in this particular game. And Brazil will be going and into the next game knowing that they have what it takes to really clamp down defensively, but they also know that they have this propensity to have one bad quarter and make things difficult for them. Can they be consistent, especially in the final game, which could be against number 6 in the world, Latvia, or against a Cameroon team who has shown them that they can put points up in a hurry really quickly? We'll find out soon enough. Once again, thank you very much for joining us here on this live chat of this FIBA Olympic Qualifying Tournament in Latvia. Of course, we have other live chat parties going around. Thank you for those who kept this as a second screen throughout the competition. And thank you very much. Brazil in the final. And let's see who they're going to come up against next. You can catch that in the next matchup here in the FIBA OQT tournament in Riga, Latvia. Once again, I'm Paulo Del Rosario. You can follow me at Paulo Del Rosario on X and at Paulo Del Rosario on Instagram. And I will see you for the next few games.
I'm doing it really, really, really though. Big dreams, I want big though. Clubbing all night, champagne popping, getting faded.